Welcome to IE News. I'm Chris Johnson.
And I'm Fariel Khan.
We have all of your latest information and entertainment on the last episode of this semester.
We have an exciting show for you today, including an entertainment report, a movie review,
and we had a chance to sit down with a congressional candidate in this week's Spotlight interview.
All this and more coming up right after this, so stay tuned.
And now for our top stories. EOPS is now accepting applications for the upcoming spring semester. Visit EOPS at either the Liberal Arts or Pacific Coast campuses after completing your financial aid application and assessment process. You can turn in your application on the LAC campus in room M213 or on the PCC campus in room AA120.
The Viking Volunteer Program and EOPS are hosting a toy drive to help low-income families. Please donate gifts for children between the ages of newborn to 14 years old. Donations can be dropped off at the Student Life Office in E116.
Congratulations to the following students who were elected for ASB. Ramon Calvillo is Spring 2012's president, Jennifer Rios as vice president, Stephanie Cuevas as secretary, and Luigi Zaccarini as treasurer.
'Tis the season for the holiday concerts to begin at Long Beach City College. Tom Dustman's jazz and pop vocal groups kick off the series December 2nd and 3rd as they present their holiday concert series in the newly refurbished LAC Auditorium at 7:30 p.m. Tickets can be purchased at the box office before the concerts. General admission is $10 and students, staff, children, and seniors are $5.
Don't go anywhere, there's more IE News right after this.
Welcome back. Glitz, glamour, and scandal on this week's entertainment report. Let's check in with Keisha Hall for the lowdown.
Greetings to all of you in TV land and welcome to this week's entertainment report. First and foremost, Jennifer Lopez demands your attention. On the heels of her divorce and on the verge of a blossoming romance, she held a sideshow in her very own honor at this year's American Music Awards. Pulling no stops, there were people balancing on furry stilts, a bedazzled cane dance featuring a booty-shaking breakdown, twin gymnasts, scores of shirtless studs, rapper Pitbull, and Knock Knock, what's that behind you? No, it's not a step in the right direction for J-Lo's stalled music career. It's a Fiat. Yes, there was a Fiat on stage. Fulfilling obligations for a new endorsement deal for the car company, Jenny shimmied and shook like her Louboutins depended on it. Donning a familiar nude bodysuit with strategically placed crystals and major sexy face, Ms. Lopez danced alongside her rumored boyfriend, 24-year-old Casper Smart. She kept the heat up at the after party held at the Greystone Manor in Beverly Hills by giving him lap dances in the VIP. Witnesses report the two grinding, rubbing, and making out. Be wary of those backup dancers, Ms. Lopez. Sad news to report that one of hip-hop's greats, Heavy D, has passed away at the age of 44 due to complications from pneumonia. Born Dwight Myers, he was a major influence on rap music as it grew in the 1980s and 90s. He was buried in his adoptive hometown of Mount Vernon, New York. Those in attendance at his funeral included Will Smith, Jay-Z, Usher, Diddy, Al Sharpton, Don King, John Legend, and Queen Latifah. President Obama and First Lady Mrs. Obama sent a letter that was read at the service. He will be greatly missed and missed by some greats. In addition to being a tool that's butchering the English language one character at a time, Twitter serves as an arena for airing grievances. In the latest Twitter beef news, Crayola victim and cartoon rapper Nicki Minaj and her hype man boyfriend Safari Samuels dared to cyberbully legendary icon Cher over a misunderstanding sparked by an instigating fan. It all began when that fan tweeted to Cher that Nicki dissed her in a song, to which Cher replied, "I've seen lots of people come and go, no biggie." After learning that the diss in the song wasn't geared towards her, Cher apologized. Apparently, the apology wasn't enough for Safaree, who made news earlier this year for striking Nicki in the face with a suitcase and shoving a maid. Keeping the beef on the fire, Safaree flooded his page with crude insults concerning the 65-year-old singer, including one that some claim is a homophobic slant towards Chaz Bono. Nicki seemed to be backing up her boyfriend by tweeting, "Cher, stop it. Nicki, dear, you've made it. Why don't you drop that dead weight and pick up a nice colorblind businessman or lawyer?" Just saying. In reality TV news, the creators of Jersey Shore announced plans for a new series airing on VH1 called Mama Drama. All cool moms and their daughters will live together in a house stocked with alcohol, cameras, and regrets. Watch as hilarity ensues when these mothers try to enforce strict disciplinary rules and instill values into their children, all while downing shots of distilled liquor and participating in bar fights that result in handcuffs. Let's pray there's no smush room and let the schadenfreude begin. Congratulations to comic Kristen Wiig for receiving this year's GQ Bro of the Year award. While the Bridesmaids and Saturday Night Live star received some flack for posing in the lingerie in the magazine, she looked great doing so. Who knew Bros favored satin and lace? Thanks for joining me in this week's Entertainment Report. I'm Keisha Hall for IE News.
Thanks, Keisha. The earthquake in Japan is something that we must not forget. The Japanese people are still in need of our help. The local Japanese community here in Long Beach is holding an exciting event to raise money for those still affected by this tragedy.
9 months after the earthquake in Japan, it is important not to forget the tragedy that has affected the lives of so many people. The local Japanese community here in Southern California is still trying to help by holding a charity event named Play for Japan in December. I had a chance to speak with the event organizer, Aki Yoshino, to talk about the big game.
In March 11th, we are stunned about earthquake and tsunami in Japan. I try to think what I can do further in Los Angeles. In conclusion, I planned this baseball game as a charity event. We will have a baseball game with LA living Japanese and Korean as a charity event. It is welcome to show up with friends or family to hang out. Moreover, the charity money will be donated from this event. From this far end, we don't forget what happened in Japan.
Aside from the game, there will also be taiko, karate, and sumo performances between innings. The event promises to be an exciting and fun way to raise money for worthy cause. You can make a donation by purchasing food, drinks, and t-shirts. The event will be held on December 10th at the Blair Field in Long Beach. Admissions free. For more information, you can log on to the event website at www.playforjapanla.com/en. For IE News, I'm Kana Kashiwadani.
Thanks, Kana. I'll make sure to head down to the event. Let's go to Keisha Hall, who had a chance to report on a local homeless shelter that's making a difference in the Long Beach community.
For 27 years, the Christian Outreach Appeal of Long Beach, a non-denominational, nonprofit organization, has opened its doors to local men, women, and children, providing compassion in the ways of stabilizing the daily lives and ultimately teaching self-sufficiency. These are the stories of its volunteers, including one who has stood on both sides of the line. Yes, Jerry, can you tell me a little bit more about the Christian Outreach Appeal?
Sure. Christian Outreach is a nonprofit organization that operates out of a church. We are not a church, but we offer meals for the homeless people Monday through Friday, for breakfast and dinner. We also have a food bank for the low-income people in the area on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we also have a clothing bank on Fridays.
How did you become a volunteer at the COA?
Well, it's an interesting story. Actually, a couple years ago, times were tough. I lost my job, I lost my truck, and then I lost my apartment. Now, if you would have told me that a few years ago that I was going to be homeless in a couple years, I would have told you were crazy. You know, I was a person that lived paycheck to paycheck pretty much. And when the paycheck stopped coming in, I lost my place, and I had literally nowhere to go. So it was a very humbling experience. I lived in an abandoned building about 3 blocks from Christian Outreach. And some of the other homeless people I would see on the street told me about a place to eat. And I came here starving, literally starving. And I started eating here. And after a few months of eating here, I asked a volunteer to help out, to clean up the kitchen after the meal or something like that. And I became aware of that they have a program here, a men's transitional program. So it took me a couple months of volunteering, but I finally got in. And I've been here ever since.
Do you find most of your volunteers from the street?
No, that's not. No, all of our volunteers come from the community. They're Boy Scouts come in and do projects. People just come off the street from other churches. Like all our meals are made by other churches that come in. They donate the time and the resources for the meal. They make the meal. But no, all our volunteers are usually just walk-ins.
How long have you been volunteering here at the COA?
A little over a year now.
And why did you choose this organization to spend your time with?
Well, this is part of my community. I live close to here, so I'm retired right now, and I could come by and I can donate my time and energy and help out. So that's why.
With the shaky economy and dire outlook on jobs, organizations like the COA need your help more than ever. Please visit their website at www.coalongbeach.org or call them at 562-432-1440. Keisha Hall, IE News.
Thanks so much, Keisha. Well, it's time to head to another commercial, so stay tuned for more IE News right after this quick break.
Looking for a place to express your creativity, explore ideas, and learn? Do you want to be a part of something done by the students, for the students? Then come and join the Long Beach City College Television Production Association.
I really have to say that I'm proud of the enthusiasm that everyone brings. We have a pretty ambitious group, and I really am always fascinated by the energy level and the ambition that students bring. And I think that energy and that desire is what adds to some of the projects that we're able to put out.
We need to be persistent in terms of our job search, and we need to develop a passion for the business, a passion for wanting to work in the entertainment industry. And with the combination of desire to be in the business, the passion to be in the business, and the education to be in the entertainment business, getting a job is going to be a whole lot easier.
Meetings are held every Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. at the G Building in room 143, with filmings throughout the week. Be part of helping us establish the LBCC TVPA as part of our community and launch people and ideas into the industry. Add us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter under LBCC TVPA.
Welcome back. Our very own Chris Johnson had a chance to sit down with the president of the Ladies of Athena in this week's club interview.
Hello and welcome to this week's club interview. Today we're joined by Karen Juarez, the president of the Ladies of Athena. Karen, let's start off with something really simple. What exactly does the club do here on campus?
We normally just volunteer here around Long Beach City College. That's our main purpose.
Okay, and what does the club plan to accomplish this semester and semesters to come?
To keep volunteering around Long Beach and Long Beach City College. We like to volunteer a lot. That's what started our club. So
it's like a service club. You're here to help everybody else out.
We're a women's social service organization.
A women's social service organization. Okay. Now, what are some of the events you've been involved with this past semester?
This semester we were involved, we helped CLA with Dia de los Muertos. We also helped in rebuilding together Long Beach, cleaning up a backyard for an elderly woman.
Okay.
We've also planted trees around Long Beach.
Okay.
It's been a really good experience.
Okay, and how can people here get involved? And what is the criteria that they have to follow to become a member of the club?
We normally have Join a Club Day, which is all the clubs advertise themselves and incoming freshmen or anyone basically attending LBCC can sign up, and then from there we call people back, and from them calling back, it's up to them if they want to continue with our process or anybody's process.
Yeah.
So it takes like a whole semester of trying to join the club in order to become a member.
Is there like an interview process? You say you got to call them back. It's like an audition here.
It's not. It's not an interview process, or it does involve interviews, but it's more of us trying to see if these new females would show the dedication towards our club to actually want to become like some sort of leader and want to volunteer and want to better our community.
So they need to have these leadership qualities and show dedication and to become a member, so they're not just somebody that signs up and never shows up.
Yeah,
right?
it's not like an average Joe.
Yeah.
You need dedication.
Okay, for sure. What do you expect from future members of the club?
I expect to have more advertising with our club. We're fairly new. We were established in fall 1999.
Okay.
That's considered new to us.
Yeah.
And I just want the club to expand and have more dedicated women, have a bigger membership, and just be known all around Long Beach.
Okay, cool. And so this is a ladies' club, but I understand that there is a Warriors subdivision of the club?
Yeah, it's like a branch. The criteria isn't quite as they don't have to do as much as the women that want to try out to our club. It's more just like for moral support, and if we ever need some sort of manly help, they're there for us to help us.
Okay, so you have them carry boxes and stuff.
Sometimes.
You were saying earlier that when I spoke to you before the interview that you had worked to organize the halftime show for Homecoming.
Yeah.
Now, what is that process like? Considering that it's you're obviously not taking any payment for these things, so how do you get the help? What do you do?
Well, again, it's all like volunteer based.
Yeah.
So with the help of Walt Weber, he can sign off to give hours, and with at the end of the semester, depending on how many hours you got signed off or enlisted, you get an award.
Okay.
So it's kind of beneficial. It's also gets put into your transcript. So if you want to transfer out, it'll be shown on your transcripts. So yeah, it's really a good way to. I don't know, it just feels good when at the end of the day when you finish the whole product, at halftime show, I got all the gratitude from all the administrators that were there.
Yeah.
You did such a great job, and I don't know, it just makes me feel good.
So the club, obviously it's a volunteer club, so volunteering, from what a lot of people have told me, is such a gratifying experience. It makes you feel great, like you just said. Mm-hmm. What's that feeling like when you do something great and and you're just looking back on it, and how does that feel?
Well, one Sunday morning, I got asked to go volunteer at Skid Row and give out food. Okay. That one was really heartwarming. All these homeless people that don't have any money, and then we're just giving them food. It was, I don't know, at some point I got a little choked up. I'm like, I don't even have to do this in my own house. I have a place to stay, I have food on the table, and these people will live on the streets. And it's humbling. It's a humbling experience.
Well, it sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. For IE News, I'm Chris Johnson.
Thanks, Chris. That was quite informative. We have an interview with a congressional candidate coming up right after this quick break.
Welcome back. iNews had a chance to sit down with potential Congressman Gary DeLong. Let's check it out.
So we're here with City Councilman of Long Beach, Gary DeLong, and also Republican congressional candidate for the 47th District, as well as you're on the Board of Directors for Long Beach City College.
I am, yes, on the Board of Governors, yes.
Board of Governors, sorry. The Board of Governors. What is that job exactly?
You know, that job is to really just be a representative out in the community. You know, certainly we have regular meetings with City College executives, so we know what's going on and what's happening at City College, but be kind of a spokesperson, that you're aware of what's going on, what a great asset the City College is in our city, just how wonderful it is. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Great. You tell us, if you were to be elected congressman for the 47th District, what bills would you introduce in the first 90 days?
You know, I don't think I would introduce anything in the first 90 days, and I would be suspicious of anybody that did, right? Because you really don't want me to come in there with some political agenda that I'm trying to get done. But certainly from the first day, I would work at getting our budget into balance and getting our economy working again. I would get that on the first day, the second day, the third day, and for every day of the first 100 days and then beyond, because that's what's important and that's what needs to be fixed.
So is there any positions that you would take that are contrary to Long Beach City Hall's legislative agenda?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you're elected to represent your constituents, and part of your constituency are the cities you represent. And candidly, while I might have my preferences, once the City Council goes through its process to determine its federal legislative agenda and submits it, it's the congressional representative's job to make it happen. And that would be true for Long Beach or for any other city that I would represent.
Right. Okay. Gregory Hessler on Facebook had a question for you. Would you favor raising the income tax rates on the ultra wealthy until the debt is paid down to a more manageable level?
Well, I would tell you that wouldn't be the first two things I would do, because the first thing I would do is I would reduce the size of government, because as we talked earlier, it's doubled in 10 years. So problem number one is you got to shrink government to save costs. Then number two, you need to grow the economy. So we need to support the private sector, we need to grow the economy, generate tax revenue. Now, if you've cut the government to a manageable size and you've grown the economy and that's on a healthy rate, and you're still lacking in funding, would I look at additional tax revenue? Sure, I think you have to look at it. I mean, I think one of the reasons that we have this polarization and gridlock now is because people are unwilling to compromise. They're unwilling to find consensus. So while I would consider that, I got to be honest with you, it wouldn't be my first choice. I think we need to do the other two things first. And when you've done that, if you're still not there, then you have to have an open mind.
Okay. Rick and David McGilton McGlamory on Facebook asked this question. How would you vote on issues concerning gay equality, like, for instance, gay marriage? How do you feel about that?
Well, I guess what I would tell you is that I have a large constituency today from the community, and I've always voted in support of their objectives as a Long Beach City Council member, and I would expect to continue to do so as their congressional representative, because then again, I represent everybody.
So should gays be allowed to be married?
I think it's appropriate. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you think maybe you'll lose some votes on that one? I mean, Republicans don't necessarily like the whole gay marriage idea.
Yes, I'm sure that I will lose some votes on that, but that doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do.
Okay. What about term limits? Jim Dano from Facebook asks, Gary, what is your position on term limits for congressmen?
Well, you know, I'm going to be wishy-washy on that, and I'll tell you why. As a local elected official here in Long Beach, I strongly support term limits. I think they're wonderful. I think 2 terms, 8 years is more than sufficient, so I'm a strong supporter of term limits. On the other hand, I've never been in Sacramento, but as I understand it from those people that are very familiar, term limits are terrible. Term limits have resulted in many of the problems that we have today with people not being able to work together, not being able to get things done, the state legislature being so dysfunctional, the leadership just doing so poorly, the ownership of the public unions owning our elected officials. So term limits have been bad in Sacramento. So the answer is I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know in Washington. If it's more like Long Beach, where I think term limits are good, yes, I would support it. If I think it's going to make things worse like it is in Sacramento, then I would be opposed. But candidly, I don't know that I would know until I get there and figure it out. But I'm open to it.
What as far as the things that we've already discussed, beyond those, is there anything else that's really important to you that you want to get done in Washington?
No, I would say, again, fix the economy, get growth going. I guess the 2 things that I would actually probably increase spending on is infrastructure. I mean, you look back at what President Eisenhower accomplished in the 50s when he built the coast-to-coast, interstate highway system. Where are those kinds of visions? You look in the 60s when President Kennedy started the space program, look at those accomplishments. We don't have any of those today, and I think we should be investing in our future and for our kids' future. So I would like to see more money being invested in infrastructure for long-term benefits. And the other thing I think we need to do is I think we need to reform our education system. I think our education system is broken.
Long Beach Unified laid off almost 800 people, most of them teachers, in June.
Right. Yes, they have.
And increased class size.
And higher education is getting beat up as well. I mean, to give you an example, I have a kindergartner. I have kindergartner to college students, but our kindergartner that started earlier this year, we always thought that she would be in Long Beach Unified and that's where she'd get her education. Yes, she's there for kindergarten, but we're on the one-year plan. She has a good year, we'll renew for first grade. She has another good year, we'll renew to second grade. But I got to tell you, based on the budget cuts that are coming, because of the way that the state legislature is so mismanaging the budget up there, I think it's unlikely that she will finish in Long Beach Unified. I think the quality of our educational system has the potential to deteriorate pretty significantly, and she won't be able to go there. We won't be able to afford to keep her in public schools. We'll put her in a private school. And I think that will be very detrimental to Long Beach and other communities. So education is certainly a passion of mine.
And Long Beach would lose it's called ADA, but the money that they get for students. What's going to happen if people who have means pull their students out of Long Beach Unified? Will that crush the system even more?
I think the system further deteriorates.
And what about all the people who can't afford to put their students in private school?
Well, unfortunately, they're getting what's left that the state legislature gives them. So unless we get a better group of state senators and state assembly members, I don't see a positive future for education, whether higher education, elementary education. I don't see it with the current group of elected officials we have in Sacramento.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of people feel that way as well.
I think we're definitely in the minority, on the majority on that one.
Okay, one more question for you. Would you participate in a Long Beach City College IE News Republican primary debate?
Sure, but I guess I would say I hope it's not a Republican primary being for the congressional or for the
congressional.
Yes, but I guess let's be all inclusive and invite everybody.
Invite everybody?
Why have a Republican versus a Democrat?
So we can probably do well with that.
No, I think you should have everybody in there. And I think people really want to get away from the labels. They want to get away from Republicans, Democrats. I think more people than ever are going to the declined state, the independent, voting across party lines. So I think you should put all of us up.
Okay. Well, I'd be happy to do that.
Great.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
You are very welcome.
Councilman, we appreciate it. This is Michelle LaCour for IE News.
Thanks so much, Michelle. Coming next semester, we will have a continuation of congressional candidate interviews and a special IE News political debate. Now to switch gears a bit. What do muscular men, swords, spears, and blood have in common? Well, let's go to IE News reporter Victor Ulloa to find out.
Hello and welcome to this week's movie review. This week we're taking a look at the latest big screen blockbuster from the producers of 300 and the director of Cell. I'm talking, of course, about The Immortals. This movie takes place eons ago in ancient Greece, when mythological gods reigned supreme over men's affairs. The protagonist is a peasant with major muscles named Theseus, played by Henry Cavill. He has secretly been chosen by the Greek god Zeus to save humanity. However, to do so, he must defeat the evil king Hyperion, played by Mickey Rourke, who is in search of the legendary Epirus bow, a weapon of unimaginable power. This bow has the ability to release titans who have been imprisoned in Mount Tartaros since the beginning of time. And of course, what movie about ancient Greek heroes would be complete without an internal love story? In this case, it's between Theseus and the visionary priestess Phaedra, played by Frida Pinto. Overall, I was thoroughly entertained by the gory, action-packed excitement in this mythical movie. It includes some very intense fight scenes with spears, bows, swords, and all your favorite ancient weapons. You will also get a brief glimpse of Ms. Pinto's lovely body and the main movie love scene. I would recommend it to all of you, as in my opinion, this movie is definitely worth the $10 ticket price. Overall, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Until next time, I'm Victor Ulloa at the movies.
Thanks, Victor. Well, it's been another great semester.
We'll be back in a few weeks with more exciting news.
I'm Fariel Khan.
And I'm Chris Johnson.
Thanks for watching.